You're watching Story Scroll. Real stories, raw emotions, and endings you'll never forget. Let's scroll into today's tale.
I'm 22, and for most of my life, I thought I had a pretty normal relationship with my mom. She's overbearing, I guess is the nicest way to put it. She's smart, funny, caring, and always has advice for everything. The problem is that her wisdom tends to cross the line into controlling territory. She has this weird way of convincing herself that she knows what's best for everyone, especially when it comes to me. I've always had a casual dating life. Nothing too serious until recently, but my boyfriends were sweet, kind, and genuinely liked me. Like the type of people who remembered my favorite ice cream flavor or stayed up with me when I was sick. I never had to worry about drama or so I thought. Then things started strange. It wasn't obvious at first, just little things that made me pause. Boyfriends would suddenly act distant after visiting my house. Or they'd get weirdly quiet after talking to my mom. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe they just needed space, right? But my mom started acting differently too. She would drop comments that made me uncomfortable, like, "He's too good for you, you know," or "I hope you don't make him unhappy." At the time, I thought she was just being dramatic, trying to be helpful. Looking back, it was more like she was planting seeds. One night, my boyfriend at the time, let's call him Jay, was texting me while we were hanging out at my place. My mom walked by, peeked over his shoulder, and laughed. Not in a nice, funny way. It was a "I know something you don't" kind of laugh. I asked her what was so funny, and she just said, "Oh, nothing. You'd understand if you were smarter." That moment stuck with me. I started noticing a pattern. Every guy I got close to started acting weird after my mom spent time with them. At first, I told myself I was imagining it. I wanted to believe she wasn't capable of being that manipulative. But then it got worse. Much worse. I don't know how to explain what happened without it sounding like a nightmare, but somehow, my mom managed to insert herself into my relationships in ways that made me question my own reality. And honestly, I'm terrified that I'm not the only one who's noticed. A few months ago, I started seriously dating this guy, let's call him K. He was amazing, funny, attentive, always made me feel like I actually mattered. The kind of boyfriend I never thought I'd have, honestly. We were close, serious about each other, and for the first time, I felt like maybe I'd found someone who wasn't just okay, but perfect for me. Then, weird things started happening. He would text me less, make excuses to leave early when my mom's around, or suddenly act uncomfortable when she walked into the room. At first, I thought maybe I was imagining it. I really didn't want to believe anything was wrong. One night, I came home early from work because I felt sick. I thought I'd curl up in my room for a bit. Kay was over, and my mom, who was supposed to be out running errands, was not. I didn't hear her at first, but then I caught fragments of their conversation. She was laughing at something Kay said in this way that made my stomach drop. Not the normal, friendly laugh. The flirty kind. The kind that makes your skin crawl. I froze. I didn't want to believe it. I slowly walked down the hallway to the living room, and there they were. My mom, leaning close, her hand brushing against his arm, whispering something that made him laugh awkwardly. My heart stopped. I must have made a noise because Kay turned around, and then my mom looked at me. And oh God, that look. That smile she gave me was like a dagger. She didn't stop, didn't act embarrassed. She said calmly, "Hey, sweetie, don't take it the wrong way. I think he deserves better than you. I'm helping him." I couldn't even speak. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw up. I wanted to disappear. He looked like he didn't know where to look. And somehow, she made it sound reasonable, like I was the problem, that I cried for hours that night. I blamed myself. I thought, maybe she's right. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I'm too much, too boring, too stupid, whatever. I can't describe the mix of anger, betrayal, and confusion I felt. I just kept replaying her words in my head. He deserves better. After Kay, I tried to be cautious. I thought maybe it was just a one-time thing, maybe she just liked him, and it wouldn't happen again. But the next guy, let's call him M, was even better. Sweet, loyal, genuinely cared about me. We go on dates, text all day, spend weekends together. Everything was perfect. Then the same pattern started. M would act distant after hanging out with my mom. Little things. He'd leave my texts on read for hours, suddenly cancel plans, or say he needed space. And every time, my mom would swoop in with her little comments. One night, M and I were having dinner at my place. My mom came into the kitchen just to grab something and stayed. Halfway through, I caught her brushing her hand against his while reaching for a plate. I froze. I knew what it meant before it even happened. She was whispering in his ear, leaning a little too close, laughing at jokes that weren't funny. I could feel my stomach turn. Later, I found texts he'd sent her that were flirty. "Thanks for being so understanding tonight," one read. Another, "I don't know what I'd do without your advice." I confronted him, expecting an apology, but he just looked at me like I was being dramatic. My mom somehow spun it into me being insecure. She laughed when I tried to explain my feelings, saying, "You're just overthinking. He just likes talking to me, that's all." And it's not just the obvious stuff. It's subtle, too. The way she comments on their careers, how she touches their arms accidentally, the little gifts she gives that make them feel guilty or obligated. She's good. So good. And everyone around her thinks she's just generous, caring, and wise. No one would believe me if I told them the truth. My friends have started noticing patterns too. "Every guy you date seems off after hanging out with your mom," one friend said. I laughed it off at the time, but deep down I knew she was right. I started small. I confronted her. I remember the night clearly. We were sitting in the living room, the air thick with tension. I took a deep breath and said, "Mom, I need you to stop flirting with my boyfriends. It's hurting me. It's not okay." She looked at me for a long time, tilting her head like she was studying a puzzle. And then she smiled, this soft, infuriating smile. "Oh, honey, you're being so dramatic. I'm just helping them. Don't be selfish. They deserve better than being stuck in a relationship with someone who doesn't understand them the way I do." I couldn't believe it. Helping them? I wanted to scream, but instead, I just sat there, feeling completely powerless. Next, I tried boundaries. No more boys over without me around, no private meetings, no texting her when I'm out on dates. I thought maybe if I was careful, I could protect my relationships. She broke every boundary. Every single one. Somehow, she always knew. One of my boyfriends, let's call him T, tried to sneak over for a quiet movie night, thinking she was at book club. Half an hour in, she showed up in sweatpants, carrying snacks, claiming she forgot something. By the time I noticed, he was laughing at her jokes, completely distracted from me. I tried secret meetings, dating apps under fake names, avoiding any chance for her to interfere. And yet she found out. Somehow, every new guy I met ended up hearing from her. A friend of hers, a coworker, even the barista at my favorite coffee shop. All of them seemed to know her advice about my dating life. And here's the worst part. To everyone else, she's perfect. She's charming, smart, funny, the kind of person people trust immediately. She can walk into a room and make anyone feel like she's their best friend. She's terrifying in the most subtle way. I see it now, how people underestimate her power. After everything that happened, I stopped dating. Completely. No apps, no flirting, no. Maybe this one will be different. I told myself it was temporary, but deep down I knew the truth. It was safer to be alone than to watch someone I cared about get pulled away from me. Again. I isolated myself. I stopped bringing friends over. I stayed in my room a lot. I avoided family gatherings when I could. Every interaction felt like a setup, like I was walking into a trap I couldn't see yet. For a while, I convinced myself I was being dramatic. Maybe I really was the problem. Maybe my mom was right. Maybe I wasn't enough. Then I met someone who almost broke the pattern. His name was A. He was older than my usual type, quieter, more observant. From the beginning, he was different. When my mom tried her usual routine, compliments, lingering touches, deep conversations, he shut it down. Politely but firmly. He told her he loved me, that he wasn't interested, that her behavior made him uncomfortable. I felt relief for the first time in years. That relief didn't last. Within weeks, my mom flipped the script. Suddenly, A was disrespectful, manipulative, controlling. She told relatives that he was isolating me, that he was jealous of her relationship with me, that he made her feel unsafe in her own home. People believed her. Family members stopped talking to me. Friends asked if I was okay in that careful, suspicious tone. I started getting iced out at gatherings. He went from being the one person who stood up for me to the villain in everyone else's story. She destroyed him socially because she couldn't control him. Watching that happen broke something in me. I broke up with him, not because I didn't love him, but because I couldn't stand watching him get hurt because of me. He tried to fight it. He told me this wasn't normal, that what she was doing was abuse. I wanted to believe him. But when your own mother convinces everyone you're unstable, you start to wonder if she's right. I questioned everything. My childhood, my memories, my reactions. I wondered if I was exaggerating, if I was secretly jealous, if I deserved this for being weak, for not standing up sooner, for needing her approval at all. I would lie awake at night thinking, what kind of mother competes with her daughter? What kind of daughter lets it happen? I felt ashamed. Ashamed of my body, my personality, my existence. Ashamed that the one person who was supposed to protect me was the one tearing me apart, piece by piece, and doing it with a smile. I stopped trusting my own instincts. I stopped trusting people. I stopped trusting myself. And the worst part? She acted like everything was fine. She'd ask me why I seemed down. She'd tell me I should smile more. She'd say things like, I just want you to be happy, while standing on the ruins of every relationship I ever tried to build. For years, I blamed myself. For years, I thought I was too weak, too emotional, too not enough. But hitting rock bottom made one thing painfully clear. This wasn't my fault. It never was. The first step in taking back control was proof. I started gathering everything: texts, emails, voice notes, screenshots. Every flirty comment, every inappropriate message, every subtle manipulation became evidence. I didn't know what I'd do with it yet, but I knew I needed it. If anyone doubted me, I needed the facts. Then something unexpected happened. One of my ex-boyfriends, let's call him R, reached out. He had witnessed my mom's behavior firsthand and hadn't known how to react at the time. He admitted he regretted not standing up for me and offered to help. Together, we started documenting everything more strategically: dates, times, the exact ways she interfered in my life. He even agreed to act as a witness if needed. It felt strange to be plotting in a way. I wasn't thinking about revenge in a petty, I'll ruin her way. I was thinking about protecting myself and future relationships. I realized she'd only continue as long as I let her. I couldn't change her, but I could control how much power she had over me. I started small. I set up boundaries again, but this time, I fortified them with evidence. Every time she tried to interfere, I had screenshots or notes ready. I created a digital logbook of her actions, every sly comment, every inappropriate touch, every subtle seduction. And the funny thing? She didn't even notice. She continued as if nothing had changed, completely oblivious that I was now the one in control. I also started confiding in a few close friends. Carefully. Just enough to have moral support. No one could intervene without proof, but knowing people were in my corner made me stronger. For the first time in years, I felt like I wasn't just surviving, I was planning my own future. I was reclaiming my life. It took months of careful planning, but I finally did it. And it was everything I imagined and more. I started by quietly sharing my documentation with the people closest to me. Screenshots, messages, logs of every time she crossed a line. I didn't confront her in public. This wasn't about embarrassment. This was about truth. First, my friends. They were shocked. Some had suspected something, but seeing the proof made it undeniable. Their reactions were a mixture of anger, disbelief, and relief that I finally had support. Then my extended family. I sent an email to a few people who had always trusted her blindly. I was careful with wording. Factual, calm, unflinching. I let the evidence speak for itself. And finally, the ones who mattered most, my ex-boyfriends. I reached out to the few who were willing to talk, explaining what I'd gathered. They were hesitant at first, some still blamed themselves, but as I walked them through the timeline, the texts, the manipulation, they started to see clearly. The truth was undeniable. I confronted my mom privately afterward. She tried the same tricks she always did: gaslighting, guilt-tripping, claiming she was helping them, calling me dramatic. But this time, I didn't flinch. I had the evidence. I stayed calm, repeated the facts, and refused to engage in her twisting of reality. The fallout was immediate. People started distancing themselves from her. Friends who had once admired her cunning began to question everything. Family members who had blindly followed her started seeing her for what she was. She tried to spin it, tried to charm her way out, but everyone could see the truth.
I stood firm.
I answered questions honestly, explained how I felt, how my relationships were sabotaged, how she manipulated everyone around me. I didn't shout. I didn't cry much. I simply told the truth. For the first time in years, I felt free. I could breathe without fear that someone I cared about would be taken from me by her interference. I could interact with friends and family without walking on eggshells, wondering if she was twisting the narrative behind the scenes. I won't lie, she's still in my life. We aren't friends, but the power dynamic has shifted completely. She can't control me anymore. I've reclaimed my narrative, and I've started building my life on my own terms. It's been months since everything came to light. The dust has settled, and for the first time in years, I feel like myself again. Rebuilding hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. I started small, focusing on myself. Therapy helped me untangle years of guilt and self-blame. I learned to recognize my own worth, separate from my mom's manipulations. I set boundaries that stick this time. My home is my sanctuary, and I've made it clear that no one, not even my mother, gets to interfere in my relationships or personal life without my consent. Dating again has been different. I'm cautious, yes, but I'm also confident. I don't hide who I am. I don't overthink gestures or worry about anyone stealing someone away from me. I pay attention to red flags now, and I listen to my instincts. For the first time, I can enjoy companionship without fear. I even have someone in my life now, someone who respects me, my space, and my boundaries. It feels surreal. I can laugh without fear of betrayal. I can hold hands without anxiety. I can imagine a future with someone without my mom's shadow looming over it. My relationship with my mom is complicated. We're not close. We talk when necessary, but the dynamic has completely changed. I no longer live under her approval or fear her interference. She still tries sometimes, but I have the tools now to protect myself.
Thanks for watching Story Scroll. Hit that bell and stay tuned for the next story that will move your heart.